Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Today's going to be awesome. We're going to talk about the hidden $50,000 plan and why reps are leaving and agency owners are leaving, commissioned one-off deals, and upgrading to recurring commission revenue. And it's going to be awesome. We're going to cover three things, give you some takeaways. It's going to be a good sesh. So I'm going to grab a cup of coffee here while you grab something to jot some notes with, my friend. Probably shouldn't be drinking coffee this late in the afternoon, but oh well. So what I want to do here is make my face small. I'm going to scooch this over here and let's get cracking. Okay, so here's the truth that most folks never face. Every time you close a deal, you start from zero again with very few exceptions. Excuse me, pardon me. So if we put all this time, all this energy, all this effort into closing a deal, but then for most folk, what happens next is it it goes down and then we reset to zero. It's like on the old vehicles, those odometer readings where you'd go on a trip and you'd punch the button and it would zero it out. And it doesn't matter if you hit 150K, it doesn't matter if you hit 250K, it doesn't matter if you hit $500,000. Last year, the year before, it's the same every year. At the beginning of the year, you start at zero, right? January 1, 0. So we work our fannies off January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We get our income up here, but then at the beginning of the next year, boom, we start that cycle all over again. And that is why they call it the rat race. And again, I'm not saying anything here to be hurtful or rude. Sometimes I play with stuff like that, but for real, I don't want you to be, I was there, okay? This is about how do we solve this, but to solve it, we have to have clarity on what's causing it. Because here's the deal. If you knew how to make 25K a month, you wouldn't be on this video watching me. You would be enjoying the benefit of that labor and those fruits, the fruit of that labor, the harvest of that labor. So the reality is, can we agree? You're here because you don't know how to do it yet, okay? I do. I'm not saying that to brag, right? Our best month to date was a little under 800 grand for the month. That's pennies compared to some high-level executives and CEOs, right? That's not even $1 million a month. It's less than 12 million a year. Plenty of people make way more income than that. So I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. We're all on a spectrum. And so the reality is I didn't know how to do it. Now I do. And when I was trying to get to 25K, I was searching because I didn't know how to get there. So let's unpack this for a minute. If the farthest distance you're ever going to have to travel is from your right ear to your left ear, right? Because it's think and grow rich. It's the brain. It's not the body. Otherwise, people that worked hard would be rich, right? The difference between a ditch digger and a multimillionaire is how they think. Otherwise, school teachers would drive Ferraris and first responders would have beach homes. It's not effort equals income. It's thinking equals income. And so what we've got to do is we've got to disconnect from this loop, this cycle that just repeats, resets, repeats, resets, repeats, resets. Monday, what do? We get up, we close deals. Tuesday, what do? We get up, we close deals. Wednesday, and then what happens? It resets at the beginning of the month. So what I'm presenting to you is there's a handful of smart people, sales reps, agency owners, business owners, white collar folks who have broken that. And they're stacking recurring contracts. Pardon me. Excuse me. It takes about 90 days to get to 25K. That's not a promise. That's not a guarantee. Certainly it can happen a lot quicker. We've had people come on board. I'm thinking of one guy in particular. He enrolled 4 clients his first week. But let's set aside that, okay? Because really the speed or the velocity How fast you move is a function of a couple things. So how fast you move is a function of, let me move this over just a little bit here. It's a function of your time. How much time do you have to work on this project? It's really a business, but when I say business, it carries a lot of baggage, like old school business stuff, right? This is not really it's a business, but it's like a business version 2.0, because what do you need? You need to get people on the calendar. You need to know what to offer them. And you need to that's it, really. There's just a couple things, and we can help you with that, right? Total side note, I wasn't planning on getting into this just quite yet, but here's the reality. You have everything you need to be successful with this model. You have everything you need to make money serving businesses with AI and automations. You know how to talk to people. You know how to enroll. You know how to close. You know how to sell. You know how to communicate. You know that. So stay in the lane. Don't deviate and get off into all this technology and all this crap that changes all the time. Jeff Bezos, when he was fundamentally creating Amazon, he didn't chase shiny objects. Here's what he said. He said, let me think about this. Is there ever a human on planet Earth that wants longer shipping time? Is there anybody that would like to get the product they bought slower? He said no. He said, so let's focus on shorter shipping time. Then he said, you know what? Let's think about this. Is there anyone on planet Earth that would want to spend more for products? No. He said, so let's focus on offering products for less. Two fundamental evergreen principles. Okay. My point in sharing this is that you already have an evergreen principle of understanding selling. So that's where you need to lever up and double down like Jeff Bezos did. Let the nerds handle the nerd stuff. The people that sold 20 years ago, the rainmakers, made money. The rainmakers today make money. The rainmakers in 20 years will make money. It's the rainmaker who makes the money. It's not the technical person. Why? Because the technology changes in one instant. Entire legions of knowledge just go away. Like in an instant with the development of new tech. So why would you spend your precious time, energy, focus to learn something only to have it be rendered obsolete in the snap of a finger with some new tech, versus understanding how to sell, how to communicate? Do you see where I'm going with this? That's what Jeff Bezos did. He's like, hey, nobody's going to want to have longer shipping times, and nobody's going to want to pay more for product. And that's a true story. Go check it out. That's what he built the whole foundation on, that core principle. So what I'm saying to you is you already have everything you need, right? What do we need to do? We need to do a couple things. A, we need to get people on your schedule. This is one of our team members' schedule. You can see this is from 2 weeks ago, the beginning of August. This is what our system produces. This is one calendar. So I want you to imagine what would happen if you woke up and your calendar was absolutely stacked like that, right? Okay, check that off the list. Now you just need to know what to say to them, okay? And we've talked many times about there's two ways that you can approach your selling. You can approach it from the standpoint of you being the hero, having phenomenal skills, having phenomenal abilities, or you can present it and approach it from the standpoint of the offer being the hero. That's a light bulb. And when you approach it from the standpoint of the offer being the hero, then the offer does the heavy lifting and you don't. Which means that when our people get on these calls, we don't need to have rocket scientists. We don't need to pay people $100 million a year. We can get really qualified people, but they don't need to be Einstein, because the offer, we've architected things so the offer does the heavy lifting. So now you've got the offer. You need to know how to convert these appointments into profit. And then, of course, we recommend and encourage to have somebody else handle the fulfillment work. We do that if you want our help. By the way, if you want our help, we have a program. Now, you get what you pay for, y'all. So our program isn't free. There's sometimes people are discombobulated by that. It's very simple. We have an initial 15-minute call. That's free. Doesn't cost you nothing. And we get to know you, you get to know us. And only at the point that you're completely comfortable, have all your questions answered, would we ever even consider inviting you into the program. We enroll 4 people a week because we deploy our dev resources, we deploy our coaching, we deploy our support so that they get results quickly. And we don't want to dilute across 10 million people. So there is a constraint. It's not an artificial constraint. It's not a BS constraint. It's because we want to produce results, because when our folks make money, we make money. And so that's the purpose. If that call goes well, then we have another call. Okay. So just so it's super clear. Now, the way it works is you get what you pay for, right? Pardon me. There's cost for technology, there's cost for development, there's cost for AI, there's cost for marketing. So if you're not in the position where you understand that anything worthwhile, there's going to be a little bit of an expense, then don't book a call. Okay. But if you decide, and if we offer you one of those seats, then what you're looking at is very similar to a college tuition where you can either pay in full or you can finance it. If you're looking to finance it, which is what we recommend, you're looking at about a $400 a month payment. Now, we do deals in the thousands. We recommend a minimum of a 3K setup, minimum we like to see at 5, 10K, and then a minimum $1,000 a month. We like to see it 2 or 3. So let's do some simple math. One deal covers the financing. One deal covers the financing. One deal, and your business is self-liquidating. Now, if you had an ounce of sales skills, do you think if you had this type of consistency of throughput that you would be able to enroll some of those people? Yes. That's why I say stay in the lane. Now, you probably thought I forgot that the whole topic of this discussion was how fast can you get to the goal? Well, I didn't forget, but I wanted to lay a little foundation there. So, getting to the goal is a function of a couple things. A, time. Do you have 10 hours a week? Do you have 40 hours a week? First vector. B, your skill set, right? And while you don't need to be an Einstein when it comes to sales, if you're a moron, you can still be successful. We've had plenty of morons be successful. Sometimes the morons are more successful than the other people because the other people think they know everything and they're stubborn and, no, I know this, I've done this, I'm going to do it my way. And they realize their way is stupid because it's based on old playbooks. So your sales ability. And then number 3 is your resources, right? Can you spend a penny on ads to acquire these customers? All these customers are paid acquisition driven. They're Facebook driven. Or can you spend $100 million in ads, right? This produces the appointments. This is how many appointments you can fit in your calendar, right? And then this is how effective you convert those appointments into dollars. So that's the system. Those are the bottlenecks. And that's what we help you to do. We help you come up with a customized plan based on your strengths, your skill sets, your availability, your goals. And that's another vector, the goals, right? But these are bottlenecks. These are constraints. So hopefully that makes some sense. All right. So I want to show you how sales reps are making the shift. I want to show you some of the key mistakes that are common, and then you're going to understand how to solve these things. And by the way, if you do want to book a call with us, there's pretty much a link in just about every single lesson in here. So you can come in here, you can book a call. What's the catch? What's the cost? We walk through exactly how all that works here. Fully disclosed, no secrets. Because here's the reality is if you're on YouTube videos watching all these things and they're not telling you about the cost, then the cost is hidden, and typically you got to go through a funnel to find it out. There is no successful human being doing YouTube videos for free. Just a fact, just a reality, okay? So, mistake number 1, believing bigger commissions equal freedom. Bigger commissions do not equal freedom if they are one-time commissions. Because again, it's just the same cycle. What you need to do is you need to disconnect time equals money. You need to break that. That's what equals freedom. Because what's freedom? Freedom is time and money. A lot of money, no time, bad. A lot of time, no money, bad. A lot of money, a lot of time, good. So how it shows up, reps celebrate closing a $20,000 deal, but their income treadmill resets every quarter or every month. Why it's a problem? Because the income on paper might look good, but there's no stability, there's no compounding, and then there's burnout, or there's job hopping, or there's frustration where they kick the cat. Zig Ziglar said the guy would come home, he'd be mad, and he'd kick the cat. So that way they're squawking at their spouse, they're yapping at their kids. Or conversely, they're into porn and alcohol and drugs because their life sucks, they're trapped, and they don't know what to do about it. And that's fine. But listen, the past doesn't equal the future, so all that stuff can be changed. So bigger commissions don't equal freedom. What equals freedom is recurring income. So freedom comes from recurring income, not bigger one-time deals. And we're going to talk about the rule of 78s and the snowball. But what I want you to also understand is that when you build this structure, this business structure that we're talking about, again, business in quotes, business 2.0, right? What do you need? You need some resource to invest in ads. You need the framework and the blueprint. And then the ads come in and book the calendar, right? That's what the system is. We run ads. We have AI that reaches out, books people on the calendar. And then we get on a phone, and then we have a process, and then we pass it off to fulfillment. That's what you need. That's what disconnects time from money, because once you've landed a deal, that deal recurs. So that means the time you invested is like a seed. It's like equity in a property. It's like a tree growing. You've done the thing one time, but the benefit echoes and expands. Okay? So, pardon me. And by the way, we were talking about Jeff, Amazon. Do you think when he was trying to figure all this out, he was watching YouTube videos? You think Bill Gates was listening to podcasts? Was Steve Jobs reading a lot of books, going through a lot of blogs, trying to figure this out? No. These guys thought and grew rich. And they had people around them to help them spot their blind spots, blind spot detection. Because again, at the beginning, I said, hey, you're here because you don't know how to make the money. You have the skill set to already do it, right? You have the skill set to take these appointments and convert them into clients. So therefore, why aren't you there? You're not there because you're deficient. You're not there because you're lacking anything. You're there because of a blind spot. You don't know what you don't know. And because we don't know what we don't know, then it's next to impossible for us to have the breakthrough that we need, because we don't possess the knowledge to understand what we need, because we don't know what we don't know. So that's the definition of insanity. So that's why we whack our head against the wall. That's why we chase shiny objects. That's why we think information is the result, is the answer. It's not. It's understanding what blind spots you have and then removing them, bringing clarity so that you can execute. Okay, mistake number 2, ignoring the rule of 78s. So number 2, 78s. Okay, what's that? Well, the rule of 78s, pretty simple, pretty powerful. How it shows up is chasing one deal at a time, blind to the compounding effects of recurring. It's a problem because people underestimate how quickly recurring stacks. So let me show you this. We're going to take a very simple example of $1,000 per month recurring and a very modest $3,000 one time. Okay? So this is one deal a month. Watch this. One deal a month. If your calendar looked like this is a week. How long would it take you to get the competency to do a deal a month? So month 1, 4K. Okay? Of that 4K, we're going to do recurring. 1K, we're going to do one time 3. Okay? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down to 12, right? Boom. You can do the math over there. But by the end of the 12th month, you're at $12,000 recurring income. You've collected 12 times 3, right? 36K. So your total income is now, here's where it gets interesting. Because this first month recurred 12 times. So this first month produced 12K of income. This is for the course of the year. This second month, the second deal produced 11K of income because of the recurring. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You understand? This first one, let me move this over. This first one recurred 12 times. So by the end of the year, starting January 1st, the following year, day 1 of the month, you hit 12K in your bank account. This is one deal a month. But through the course of the year, this production, this mechanism produced, do the math with me, 12K plus 11 plus 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, 78 grand plus the 36 for your upfront fees. That's 114 grand because of the power of the 78s. Doing one freaking deal a month. That's why it's think and grow rich, because with one fell swoop of disconnecting from the job commissioned hustle and hassle, you can use the same skill sets with way less energy and dominate the comp. Most people work 40 hours a week. Let me show you this, if that isn't enough. Most people work 40 hours a week to make, let's just say 12K. Just again, some of you, that's not, some of you that's half, and that's cool. But follow, because we've built a 12K model over here. Okay. Well, actually, let's do it like this. 114K. We're going to do 114K divided by 12. Paul, I don't like math. Stick with me so you can learn how to think and grow rich. This isn't rocket science. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking that income and I'm converting it to a monthly. So that's about 10K. So let's just say, for this example, we're starting with the 12K a month, 40 hours. Let's say it took you 40 hours to make 12K, right? No, it took you 40 times 4, right? Because there's 4 weeks in a month to make 12K. So what does that mean? That's 160 hours to make 12K. 160 hours to make 12K. If you deployed this model, you're now in this next year, you're making 12K with 0 hours. Let me say that again. You're making 12K with 0 hours because it's residual recurring and because the dev team is managing the technology for the client. Okay? So here's where this gets even more powerful. So in the old way, right? 160 hours, 12K, right? 40 hours a week times 4 weeks, 160, 12K for the month. New, 0 hours, 12K. Okay? Now, is it reasonable to believe that if the business owner is receiving a lot of value from the $1,000 per month offer, that you can introduce them to something else? Collect additional income, additional setup, additional monthly. So now let's take this 12K And what if we reran the model that we just ran and we installed a new and updated and additional AI to that business? We collect a 3K one time, we collect a 1K additional recurring. So now the 1K becomes 2K. So what you've just done is, let's say you spend the initial month of the year and you do this. You've now taken that 12K and you've converted it into a 24K monthly recurring revenue. And you've just taken 12 deals and you've collected 12 times 3K setup. That's 36K. So in the first month, you have now collected 36K in setup fees and an additional 12K in monthly recurring. So now you've just made 48K your first month of the following year. You've made, if 10K, if 12K a month was the monthly income, what's 12 times 12? That's 144K. You've just made about 40% of the annual income in 1 month. Well, Paul, it's not going to work exactly like that. Exactly, it's not. It can work a lot faster and a lot more. This is you putzing around doing 1 deal a month. What if you did 2? What if you did 3? What if you hired a full-time straight commissioned rep that all they did was spend 40 hours a week working to make you recurring income? What then? Yeah, that's why when I say there's people creating generational wealth with this, they don't believe me because they haven't thought, and therefore they're not rich. They're just repeating the same pattern. They're looking around and they're a sheeple. Bah! Everybody's doing this. Bah! I've always done that. Bah! I'm going to keep doing that. Stop. There's no one who's wealthy who's a sheeple. They thought and grew rich. The sheep don't think. They follow. They smell a butthole. They look at an ass. Excuse my language. Don't do that. You're better than that. You deserve more. Your family deserves more. So when you understand, you can start to think and grow rich, and all these blind spots are just demolished. Now you should be like, holy crap, that makes some sense. Now what the next part of your thinking should be is, well, how do I get these people on my calendar? What do I say? Okay, we can help with that. But my point is when you understand how this stuff compounds, now you just made 48 freaking grand in 1 month. It took you about a 30-minute call to upgrade these people because the second sale is 1,000 times easier than the first sale, because you call them up, hey, Billy, I'm just looking over, we've been working together now about 8 months, and I see the AI profit systems have recovered $72,000 for you. You know what? I got some ideas about how we can make the next 8 months even better. And there's some things that I'm seeing here and some new capabilities that I think we could actually double that. You interested? Heck yeah. You called, they answer. It's called a profit consulting. You're not selling a commodity. Call them up, about a 30-minute call, because now they're playing with house money. You've just helped them make 80 grand, 72 grand, 150 grand. You think they're going to squawk about a 3K setup and an additional 1,000 a month if it's going to make them more? Not in a million years. And all these numbers are super conservative. I don't say really what people are charging because you don't believe me. Because most people's thinking is they're looking at their self and they're using that as the ceiling. Again, blind spot. If you're trying to do something different, don't look at what you've done that isn't the thing you want to do and compare it. That's stupid. You're better than that. So when you take a look at $5,000 or $10,000 setup fees, 10,000 times 12, that's 120 grand. Whoop. 3,000 a month times 12, that's 36 grand a month. 5,000 times 12 is what? What's 5,000 times 12? 5 times 12, 60K a month. And we're talking about this. We're not talking about adding new clients. So I'll stop. I could talk about this for hours. This is the biggest thing most people don't get. They're all just chasing all these freaking things and trying to do this and learning all this crap and doing all. Well, they just sit down with a damn slide rule or an abacus and think. Do you think there's business owners out there right now that need help? Do you think there will be tomorrow? Do you think as the capacity changes and all the AI that they have now is rendered obsolete in an instant, they're going to want to talk? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that if we can do this with one rep, that we can show you how to do half of that, 10% of that? Do you think you have enough skill set that you can talk to these people and walk them through a simple 30-minute discovery process where you ask them questions about their business and their profit gaps? And like Jeff Bezos, who said, hey, I don't think anybody's ever going to want slower shipping. I don't think anybody's ever going to want to pay more. Do you think the business owners thinks the same? Like, hey, what business owner do you know that's going to want more no-shows? What business owner do you want that's going to want to have slower time when somebody asks them for information? Hey, let's get back to them slower. What business owner do you know that's going to want less follow-up, right? You don't need something new. You just need to go an inch wide and a mile deep. Stop chasing all these crazy ideas about all this advanced AI stuff that the business owner's brain just melts. Master the fundamentals. Hey, gentlemen, this is a football. Vince Lombardi started every season of the Green Bay boot camp with that. Gentlemen, this is a football. John Wooden, one of the winningest basketball coaches, or the winningest basketball coach in history, started the beginning of every season with showing his players how to tie their sneakers so they wouldn't get blisters on their feet. Master the basics. Steve Jobs, he said no 1,000 times more than he said yes. He wanted to master the basics of a really clean user interface. So when you understand that, and you understand the power of the offer, and you understand there's a massive demand for business owners that need this, and they're willing to pay for it, and you understand the compounding power of leveraging, it should be quite obvious it's a superior, orders of magnitude superior than chasing commissions. All right. Paul, you got really fired up there. Yeah, I kind of did. Because I was broke, and I'm not, and I want more people not broke so we can make this world a better place, and we can have some rich friends that we can go travel the beaches of the world with. Okay, 3, thinking fulfillment is a new job. So the only real big bottleneck is the fulfillment. Well, Paul, that sounds really good, but I don't know how to fulfill. I don't want to learn how to fulfill. We don't want you to learn how to fulfill. There's people that are trying to fulfill half-assed that are getting sued by the companies because they build an AI, the AI goes off the rails, it causes reputational damage, and that company has recourse. So don't even play in that. Stop putting any of that information in your brain. How it shows up is, I don't want to start a business. I don't want to become an AI profit consultant. I don't want to figure out delivery. It's a problem because you assume that you need to reinvent yourself. You assume you need to learn, oh my gosh, I got to learn all this stuff before I can get started. Like, I got to learn, I got to do all this crap up here and all this nonsense. You don't. You already have the most valuable skill set. Because I know if you had this calendar, you could convert that into clients. It's a problem because you assume something that is false. Again, blind spot. So the done for you fulfillment removes that barrier. The done for you fulfillment removes that barrier. So all you need to do is bring your sales skill set, your communication skill set, your enrollment skill set, and you're golden. And you're golden. So here's my challenge for you. Okay? Let's wrap this party up. Who are 3 people in your network right now? I'm not asking you to call them. I'm not asking you to reach out to them. I'm not asking you to sell them. I'm not asking you to talk to them. I'm asking you to think. To think. Who are 3 people in your network right now who could use AI in their business, or who know somebody who runs a business? Just write the names down. And imagine if those 3 folks were your clients. And imagine if they were the clients that were paying $5,000 a month. Because again, we don't chase the $1,000 stuff. We just talk about it here because it's more believable. And unfortunately, the degree and the rates you charge and the fees you charge are a function of your backbone and your cojones. So sometimes people need to start a little slower, which is fine. Wear some, put on some training wheels, walk with a little bit of a rubber crutch, upgrade, get some initial wins, get some deposits, some bank, some confidence, and then they can gradually go up. But let's say those 3 are paying you $5K a month, $15K a month. What's $15K a month times 12? $180,000 a year. So we said I'll show you how a $50,000 plan, you just tripled it. 3 businesses paying 5K. So we're going to keep unpacking how to make this pivot. Make sure you join us on a weekly call. I really encourage you, if this resonates at all, book a call. Again, the initial call is free. Leave your card in the freezer, but understand you get what you pay for. And the fastest, let me start here. The slowest path is you watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, try, fail, adjust, repeat, building Frankenstein's monster, getting frustrated, right? That's the longest path. We call it paying tuition to the university of not knowing. The fastest path to 25K is to cross the minefield behind somebody who's already been through. Let them blow off a foot. Follow Gimpy. Follow Gimpy across the minefield. So again, book a call. All of our system is mapped here in our Skool community, our free Skool group. So if you're not in there, hop in there. Our ads, our scripts, everything. You can book a call, click here. We'll hop on, we'll visit about how things work. We'll see if you're even eligible. And once you're comfortable, then we can talk about if it's a good fit and if we have availability. If you pay for it through financing, you're looking at about $400 a month. One deal covers that, and then most people just retire the financing. There's no prepayment penalties or anything like that, and you're off to the races. So I just want to encourage you, y'all. Now is the time. I believe this is the thing. I believe the way we do it is exceptional. I mean, I can just see it with our members and their results. And just to recap, what we want to do here is understand a couple things. It's Think and Grow Rich. The farthest distance you're ever going to have to travel is 6 inches. You want to understand that believing bigger commissions equals freedom is false. It doesn't. It's just a rat race because you restart. Jeff Bezos didn't get rich being sophisticated. He got rich being simple. And when you're selling, you can be the hero or the offer can be the hero. How fast to 25K? It's a function of your time, your skill set, your resource. The resource funnels the appointments. Your calendar availability controls how many appointments you can take, and your skills determine your conversion rate of these appointments into recurring deals. So mistake number 1 is believing that bigger commissions equal freedom. They don't. Mistake number 2 is ignoring the rule of 78. We showed you some modeling where 1 new client a month will put a lot of money in your pocket, 148K the first year to be specific, 12K a month recurring. Then what you can do is you can just upgrade those folks and you double that 12K into 20K, 24K. You collect 12 times 3 or 36 grand of upfront setup fees. You do that in your first month. Those calls are half-an-hour calls. And now you are starting the second month at 24K. Day 1 of the month, you already earned 24K, 250K. Now you have all the rest of your time. The old way, you were trading 160 hours for 12K a month, 20K a month. The new way, month 2, you're trading 0 hours for 24K a month. That's the power, and that's what most people miss. Number 3, you don't need to get a new job. You don't need to do any of that crap. You just need to focus and stay in your lane. And the fast path is to get some people that can help you with your blind spots. It's not about the AI tech, y'all. Pretty soon you'll be able to go to the gas station and right next to a gift card, you'll be able to buy an AI bot. It's what happens after you start. It's the nuance. It's the optimization. It's the blind spots. Because typically when somebody starts, they're tweaking things. We call it tweaker's disease. But they're tweaking the wrong things because they have blind spots. So they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what they don't know. And oftentimes they make things worse. The very thing they're trying to improve, they disimprove because of blind spots. The only way to handle that is to have a coach, have somebody alongside of you that has a vested interest in your success, that has been down that road and can guide you. That's the fast path. And you get what you pay for. So if you want to get to 25K in the next 3 months, you just got to ask yourself, you feel like you can do that on your own? If not, typically what we find is it's not a 3-month process. It's typically they never get there. Very few do actually on their own, especially with the pace of change. But every month that ticks by that you're not at 25K is costing you 25K. So if it takes you 6 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if it takes you twice as long and you're not at 25K, that just cost you 75K, right? Because let's say this is 3 months here, this is 3 months there. So we wipe that off. Takes you an extra 3 months. 25 times 3, 75K. I can promise you our program's not 75K. Okay. So that's why this is truly the fastest path. And that's not even considering your time. That's not considering your emotions. That's not considering your confidence. You can only whack your head against the wall so long before you start to get really, feeling pretty bad, feeling like a loser. I know because I've been there. I was broke. I remember banging my head against the wall, looking in the mirror and saying, what the hell is the matter with you? Everybody else is succeeding. What's wrong with you? And then I got a coach and everything changed. I couldn't afford it at the time. At the time, it was 15K. That's when things are like worth 25K today. I couldn't afford it, but I couldn't afford to stay in the cycle that I was in. And through that coaching, that's when we had our first breakthrough. And it happened very, very quickly after that. And I've been under continuous coaching for the last 25 years. I, in fact, will not operate without a coach. Why? Because I'm smart enough to know there's people way further along than me that know things that I don't know. They're further along as a function of their thinking. And therefore, if I want to get that new thinking, I can't swim in the pool of my current thinking. And I can get a whole lot of information, but random information from YouTube or podcasts doesn't help me with my specific blind spots because I'm taking in this random information, filtering it through my specific blind spots. So it's just the same cycle. But now I've got a lot of other information and I'm even confused and more frustrated than ever. So I bypass that. I've always had a bat phone, the red phone, the phone on the president's desk. I have question, I get answer, and that clears me up and liberates me up to spend all my time on revenue producing activities like creating that for one of our team members. Okay. And we don't just have one team member. So it's been awesome visiting with you. God bless, and we'll see you next Thursday, 4 o'clock, same time, same channel.